this house and I'm over the filming and everything.
Hey!
Tonight, we're uncovering 10 of the creepiest paranormal moments ever caught on camera. Shadowy figures that shouldn't exist. Objects moving with unseen hands. Disembodied voices whispering your name. And encounters so chilling, they've haunted viewers for years. These aren't just stories. They're raw, unexplained footage that defies logic and logic alone. If you think you've seen it all, think again. Hit play if you dare. But once these moments sear into your mind, sleep may never feel the same. Welcome to nightmares you can't unsee.
You don't think I'm crazy. Wakes up, you see this. Oh my god, it's like.
Security cameras never sleep, but sometimes they catch things that make you wish they did. This classic 2008 compilation starts with chilling elevator footage from Singapore's historic Raffles Hotel. Multiple angles show the quiet lobby at night. Then, in one frame, a sudden burst of unnatural light flashes for just a second in the bottom right corner. No reflection, no source, just pure, eerie illumination that vanishes as quickly as it appeared. And just as two men step out of the elevator, the camera captures an old woman appearing out of thin air. Cut to a U.S. home investigation. A man creeps through dark rooms after hearing strange noises.
Because there are good times, and there are bad times. Give more love than humanly.
His camera catches a pale, child-sized silhouette standing motionless in a doorway, featureless, shadowy, and gone when he looks back. Finally, amateur footage from Gettysburg's haunted battlefields. Bushes rustle violently near a steep drop. Something tall and dark shifts behind the leaves. No animal, no wind, just impossible movement. Owners swear it's really ghost-proof. Skeptics call it tricks and shadows. But in the dead of night, when your own lights flicker, that flash, that figure, and that rustle might feel a little too close for comfort. Strange thumps and scratches from the attic of an old Italian apartment building keep one resident awake. In 2015, Chris Cowart sets up a camera overnight to catch the source. The footage starts with quiet, dusty beams and forgotten junk. Then, without warning, a wooden chair drags itself across the floor, scraping loudly in the silence. Moments later, a child's rocking horse begins swinging back and forth on its own, creaking rhythmically like something invisible is pushing it. No wind, no strings visible in the dim light. Just deliberate, eerie motion that builds until the horse stops abruptly. The uploader claims shock upon review, hearing the same noises that drove them to record, though the channel focuses on VFX and filmmaking, with hints it's a tutorial-style effect. That slow, methodical drag and swing in an empty attic still creeps under your skin. Imagine those same sounds starting above your head tonight. Would you check, or just pretend you didn't hear? In a dimly lit room, a young woman stands before a mirror, performing an ancient-style evocation prayer in Portuguese to summon unknown spirits. She and the friend on call joke nervously about feeling the supernatural energy. Then she instructs, "Apaga a luz." Lights out for 10 seconds. Darkness falls as the chant continues. When the lights snap back on, chaos erupts. There, in the mirror reflection right after the blackout, a horrifying pale face with dark eyes and an unnatural mouth appears behind her. staring directly out like a demonic entity or twisted mask. The clip, uploaded over a decade ago by David Rebordow, has terrified viewers with its sudden reveal. Prank with clever editing, or a real glimpse into the other side? Either way, that face in the mirror lingering just behind you will make you avoid reflections in the dark forever. Handheld footage from Finland, which surfaced in 2014 and was dubbed the Finland footage, captures pure, silent dread. Two people spot a shadowy humanoid figure lurking near their building at night. The camera shakes as they zoom in. The entity stands unnaturally still, then moves backward in jerky, inhuman steps, defying normal walking. It edges closer without warning, always framed perfectly in the shot, despite the frantic tilting. Tension builds in eerie quiet until one of them falls to the ground and dies from a heart attack. The camera drops. The figure lingers in frame one last time. Then, there is an abrupt cutoff into a prolonged hiss. Uploaded by Darth Nixa as entire footage, the legend claims one witness is the other missing. Hoax with clever edits or real entity interference? Late night setup in a quiet home. Mark Absalon places an old-school still camera and EMF meter on the table, hoping to capture proof of Madeline, the ghost girl who's been playing with objects all week. He narrates casually. I've done this 7 nights in a row and nothing happens. Then heads to bed, leaving the room empty. The footage runs silent, until a plant on the left jerks violently. A faint ghostly voice whispers something eerie. The EMF meter beeps wildly. A bell rings on its own. Then, to top it all of, a white-gowned figure with long, dark hair appears, crouching, standing, and tilting the camera curiously like a child examining a toy. She tugs at it, shakes the tripod until, bam, the camera crashes to the floor, lens spinning in chaos. From The Haunting Tape 10, 2011, this poltergeist playtime feels too interactive, too real. In the ongoing saga of The Poltergeist Diaries, acclaimed real-life haunting series, this 2013 clip delivers one of the most disturbing moments yet. A young child lies asleep on a living room couch, blanket draped over them, room quiet and dimly lit. Suddenly, without any visible cause, the child's foot jerks, as if grabbed by an invisible hand. The small body slides across the floor, face dragging along the carpet in a slow, horrifying pull. The child doesn't wake, doesn't flinch, just limp, helpless movement like a ragdoll being towed by an unseen force. No strings or hands appear in the frame. The drag continues unnaturally until the footage cuts. Part of Mason Palmer's alleged daily paranormal logs, it promises escalating violence from a malevolent entity. Skeptics quickly call it fake, a doll manipulated with fishing line, added sound effects, and scripted production. But that silent, relentless slide of an innocent sleeper still twists your gut. Imagine waking to find your own child being pulled into the dark by nothing at all. Part of the infamous Shapiro Residence Haunting series by Von Kostler, 2012. This Ghost Caught on Tape Night 1 clip follows Philip Shapiro documenting poltergeist activity in their tormented home. Guided by Dr. Von Koisolter, the camera focuses on a quiet guest bedroom at night. An empty bed, a closed door, and stillness. Then, slowly, impossibly, the door begins to creak open on its own. No hands, no draft visible. It swings wider, inch by inch, revealing darkness beyond. As it opens fully, a distinct shadowy silhouette appears on the wall. Tall, humanoid, almost like a figure stepping into view before fading. The footage lingers on the ajar door, light spilling in unnaturally, building dread in total silence. The family claims this is undeniable proof of the entity plaguing them. Skeptics spot obvious explanations. An off-camera person pushing, simple shadow play from hallway movement, or a poor door latch. But that deliberate creeping open in an empty room still makes every closed door in your house feel like it's hiding something waiting to emerge. Deep in a rented haunted log cabin for The Haunting of Sunshine Girl series, Season 13, Episode 14, 2015. Teen investigator Sunshine is alone downstairs during a sudden power outage. Eerie noises start. Creaks, thumps, something moving in the dark. She calls out nervously, "Mom? Mommy?"
Mommy? Honey, Mommy! What's wrong? You weren't here. No, I haven't moved. No, you weren't here. Honey, I haven't moved. I've been here the whole time. The power's out again. Okay, all right. You're right.
No answer. Panic rises. And suddenly, a horrifying face peeks from the top of the stairs. Heart pounding, she runs back down. Then, her mom reappears from nowhere, calm and confused. "Honey, what's wrong?" "I haven't moved. I've been here the whole time." The power flickers back, but the implication hits hard. For those terrifying moments, her mom was gone, replaced by silence and an unseen presence. Part of Paige Mackenzie's long-running vlog blending claimed real encounters with storytelling. Skeptics see scripted tension, but that sudden disappearance in a remote cabin, with ghosts supposedly following her everywhere, still leaves you questioning every empty room you enter alone at night. From the early days of YouTube ghost hunting, this clip captures a lone investigator in a dimly lit abandoned room, calling out politely to spirits. He addresses a specific entity, Joe Stanson. "If you're here, please show yourself." Moments later, he reacts with awe. "Oh yes, thank you. That was fantastic. You came back." Excitement builds as he begs for clearer manifestation, claiming repeated sightings of something hiding, then reappearing.
Why'd you hide from me? Oh, thank you.
Part of the Orb Phasm series, focused on orb-related entities. No clear visual proof appears on screen, just his stunned reactions, sudden movements implied off-camera, and eerie silence between pleas. Hoax or genuine contact, the raw, unfiltered thrill in his voice, when he whispers thank you to the dark, still makes you wonder what answered back, and if it's still listening.
Get away from having to just get there.
A Michigan couple in Highland sets up a nanny cam to watch their sleeping baby, only to capture something straight out of a nightmare. In this 2019 news segment from The List, the grainy night vision footage shows the quiet nursery at night. The infant stirs slightly. Then a tall, shadowy figure glides silently past the crib, indistinct but humanoid, like a translucent silhouette walking through the room. No doors open, no footsteps, just an eerie presence brushing dangerously close to the helpless child before vanishing. The parents, convinced their home is haunted, shared the clip, sending chills worldwide, as hosts call it, disturbing and freaky. Presented as a real trending story, skeptics suggest bugs on the lens, dust orbs, or light artifacts in low-res IR. But that deliberate stride near a vulnerable baby still makes every parent double-check their own monitors tonight. What if something unseen is already standing over your crib? Imagine living in a place where there is a constant sense of something else, something unnatural. Night 19. By now, the house feels less like a home and more like a battlefield. For 2 weeks, he tried staying calm, ignoring the presence and refusing to provoke it. But the quieter he became, the bolder it grew. Shadows moved without reason. Doors shook. And twice, something tried taking control of him. Finally, everything changes. No more fear. No more backing down. One night, he challenges it. He sets up the SLS Connect camera, the one that maps figures as stick-shaped bodies. The room looks normal through the naked eye, but the screen flickers like it's already reacting to something he can't see. He sits down, takes a breath, and begins reading the prayer of Saint Michael. Slowly, shakily, but determined. The moment his voice fills the room, the camera catches the first figure, standing directly beside him. A thin, crackling shape stretching unnaturally long.
He wanders about with all the magnitude of wicked spirits, invading the earth in order to obtain blot out the name of God.
He keeps reading, stumbling through the words, but the entity doesn't move. It just leans closer, almost studying him. Then another shape pops into existence behind the chair. A second figure, smaller, standing still, like it was watching him read.
Yeah, I've got the original prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel. So I'm just going to read it out. If I feel anything, I'm going to ignore it.
As he pushes through the longest part of the prayer, the room changes. The air thickens. The screen flickers. At one point, the Connect detects another figure around him, bending low like it's whispering. He tries ignoring it, just like he promised. But the pressure in the room is impossible to ignore. Finally, he reaches the end. In the name of Jesus, I command whatever is in this house to leave. And that's when the two figures slowly disappear. The house goes silent.
In the name of Jesus, I command whatever is in this house to leave. You're not welcome here.
He whispers that he believes they're winning. But night 19 ends with a truth he won't admit out loud. There was a presence in that house with him. How volatile it was. He had no clue. In the silent mountains of Alabama, an old house from the late 1800s waits like something alive, breathing through the cracks of its warped floorboards, watching from the shadows between its peeling walls. The owners had begged for help, convinced the place wasn't just haunted, but aware. And the moment Mindseed's team stepped across the threshold, it felt like the house had been waiting for them. The air inside was thick, smoky, stale, and heavy. The flashlights cut through rooms where time had rotted everything except the memories. The wallpaper curled like dead skin. The stairs groaned under their own weight. And then the pictures came into view. Ancient portraits of the previous couple were left exactly where the owners said they had to stay. Anytime they boxed them up, the house got violent. The moment they lifted one of the portraits, the energy shifted. A cold ripple rolled through the hallway, and the first eerie giggle echoed behind them.
I bet these are the pictures.
Oh, wow. Those are ancient. Whoa. That's gnarly looking.
That's crazy. He's in his like soldier's uniform.
Upstairs, the woman's picture triggered the EMF instantly. Red, then pulsing like something was breathing through it. When they asked if she could show them where she stayed, everything went as if she'd left the room. Seconds later, a heavy thump shook the ceiling above them. And then again, another creepy laughter.
What happens at the same time? Whoa.
What?
What was that?
What was what?
That little giggle. Whoa.
What?
It sounded like it came from, maybe it came from in here.
Maybe it was the door. The door squeaked a little bit.
But the most terrifying moment came when they reached the back door. They had locked it earlier. Now it stood wide open, swaying gently, as if someone had slipped inside. Before they could process that, something slammed the cellar door outside, hard, like something beneath the house was trying to claw its way out. They approached slowly. The wooden hatch shook again, rising, with something pushing from the darkness below. Not air, not an animal, something intentional. When they lifted it just an inch, the void beneath exhaled a sound that didn't belong to anything living. They slammed it shut, jumped on it.
Are you sure you closed that door?
This door was locked, bro.
Hello? Oh my. What the hook?
And then, from inside the house, a picture crashed to the floor. The candle blew out, and the hallway curtain moved by itself. The house wasn't haunted. It seemed mad. This clip gives me the creeps. The abandoned hospital was already infamous long before anyone stepped inside. The bearded explorer's footage showed a lone figure drifting across the far end of a hallway, a shape that shouldn't have been there, especially at that hour. Curious and determined, the team at Ghost Theory returned to the same place, expecting maybe a few strange noises, nothing more. Instead, they walked into one of the most active nights they'd experienced in over a decade. Even entering the building felt wrong. A bitter cold clung to the doorway, as if something was pushing outward while they pushed in. The air smelled stale and untouched, yet the floors were damp, and the walls were freshly dripping. The entire building felt unsettled, almost newly disturbed. The deeper they moved, the more the atmosphere tightened. Random knocks followed their steps, always just a few paces behind, always when no one was moving. And the most horrifying thing was this huge "help" written on the wall in red. The sign was still wet, like someone had just written it a while ago.
What even is that made of? That's still wet.
What?
Is it not? It is.
It's still wet.
Red stains lined the corridor walls. Thick streaks smeared down to the floor, pooling near a discarded medical bed that still looked recently used. Furniture scraped across the upper floor, even though the wind couldn't reach that high, and the stairs looked too unstable for anything living to be up there. And then came the first unmistakable moment. A door down the hall slammed with violent force, a heavy echo rolling toward them like a warning shot. There was no wind, no draft, no structural shift, just impact, pure and deliberate.
I feel like we need to find a really, really decent room to go down, and then choose.
Oh my! It's on my... What the...
Moments later, the K2 meter came alive. A steady pulse, then a full red spike, then another, then a long, sustained surge, as if something stood inches away, directly interacting.
Right, hang on. Can you take it up to Red if that is a spirit here with us? Take it up to Red now. Exactly on cue. Thank you. Wow. Can you go up to Red if you are male? Male.
By the time the activity intensified, the team wasn't searching for evidence anymore. The evidence was surrounding them, pressing in from the corridors, moving doors, dragging unseen weight across the floors, and responding to their presence with precision. And that's our top 10. Shadowy figures gliding past cribs, spirits pleading stop filming, doors opening alone, children dragged by unseen hands, faces in mirrors during blackouts, and voices answering from the dark. These raw, unexplained moments have left millions staring at empty rooms, checking corners, and questioning every noise after midnight. Sleep well tonight, or don't. Because what if one of these isn't just a video? What if it's waiting in your house right now? Like, subscribe, share your own creepy encounter below, and stay safe in the shadows. Until next time.
Blink and get more with new 2K Plus Smart Security. With Blink 2K Plus, get set up in minutes.
Terrifying witch. A man was riding his bike home late at night in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, when he saw a strange figure standing in the middle of the road. He stopped and got off the bike to see what it was, but before he could get a clear look, the figure vanished. Shocked, he stood there for a moment, trying to understand what had happened. After a moment, the same figure appeared again on the road. This time, it was dressed in white, with long black hair covering its face. Terrified, the man didn't wait any longer, left his bike there, and ran away on foot, convinced that he had just seen the witch people said haunted that road at night. Bone-chilling encounter. On the night of March 15th, 2014, a strange moment was caught on a CCTV camera at a hotel in Glasgow, UK. In the middle of the night, a woman was walking downstairs to complain that the AC wasn't working. As she was going down the stairs, a dark shadow suddenly crossed her path. There were no clear features, just a cloud-like shape of smoke. The figure paused for a brief second, then bolted as if it was rushing after her. Terrified, the woman turned and ran back to her room. With trembling hands, she packed her bags and left the hotel in the middle of the night, remembering how her friends had warned her not to stay there because people said it was haunted. Ghost revenge. On the 6th of September, 2017, a strange incident took place in Canberra, Australia. Two brothers were going downstairs to go out for dinner when a dark shadow suddenly appeared in front of them and leapt toward one of the brothers. He collapsed on the ground, but his brother managed to pull him away from the shadow, and they both rushed back to their apartment in fear. The shadow lingered there for a few seconds and then vanished into thin air. Later, the brother remembered that he had once thrown pebbles into the darkness in that same stairwell and wondered if a ghost had returned to take revenge. Road crossing apparition. This footage was shared on Instagram 7 years ago and left viewers stunned. It shows a blurry figure appearing out of nowhere and slowly crossing the road. What makes it even stranger is that passing vehicles drive straight through it, as if it were made of smoke and completely invisible to them. The video is too old to be called the result of AI, so what was it? A ghost or something even more sinister? You decide. Haunted hotel experience. One Saturday night in Colorado, a bizarre moment was caught on a CCTV camera at the Stanley Hotel. A A woman was walking toward her room, looking at her phone, when a faux plant in the corner of the lobby suddenly fell to the ground on its own. There was no wind, and no one nearby who could drop it. Confused, she stopped, and then something even stranger happened. Her hair lifted and blew, as if a strong gust of wind had hit her from behind, yet the air around her was completely still. Sensing something paranormal, she rushed to her room, locked the door from the inside, and stayed awake in fear until morning. And at first light, she checked out of the hotel and never returned. Late night encounter. 9 years ago, a security guard was sitting on a chair late at night in a building in Harlan, Kentucky, when something strange happened. A chair beside him suddenly moved slightly on its own. He looked around in confusion, and then the chair moved again. Terrified, he began to stand up. But as soon as he did, the chairs crashed to the floor as if pushed by something invisible. Panicking, he ran outside the building because he was sure that he was not alone there and never returned to his job, convinced the place was haunted. Street apparition. One night in a quiet street in Patna, India, a dog was lying calmly in the middle of the road when suddenly it sensed something we couldn't see. It stood up, fixed its gaze on something ahead, and slowly began to move away, as if something invisible was coming toward it. Then, on the footage, a dark shadow appeared. It moved like a human, but its body was made of thick, black smoke. No clear features, no face, just a cloud in the shape of a person gliding down the street. When the video was posted online, many were convinced the camera had captured a real ghost walking through the street. Cursed mannequin. A female manager was closing up after her night shift at a costume shop in Reno, Nevada, when something bone-chilling made her heart pound. As she walked by a mannequin, its head slowly turned toward her, as if it were alive. She stopped for a moment, staring at it in shock. Then, even more disturbingly, the head suddenly jerked to the right. Terrified, she ran out of the store and decided never to return, because she began to wonder if the shop was haunted by something evil, since many cultures believe that dolls and mannequins can be possessed by spirits.
What's up? It's Christopher Bella here. My friends at Interstate Batteries are cooking up something cool. Check it out.
Phantom visit. A man in Casper, Wyoming, was experiencing poltergeist activity and installed a CCTV camera in his room to record it. One night, while he was sleeping, the door suddenly slammed shut with a force so strong that it shook the camera. Startled, he woke up screaming, trying to confront whatever was there, but the camera showed nothing. Terrified, he continued yelling at the unseen presence before finally escaping the room. The incident left him shaken, wondering whether a restless spirit had been haunting him that night. Paranormal activity. A family left their cats alone at home for one night. When they returned, the cats were acting strangely, so they checked the CCTV footage. Surprisingly, one cat was standing upright on its hind legs, staring around as if it sensed something unseen. Then a dark shadow slipped into the room, and the other cat followed it. Suddenly, the table beside the cat began to shake on its own, and the door slowly started to close, and the camera view shifted to the wall. After watching the footage, they were sure that their cats had been possessed by a ghost. Cemetery ghost. A security guard was on his night shift at a cemetery in Penang, Malaysia, when he saw a terrifying figure dressed in white with messy hair walking between the graves. Out of curiosity, he ran toward it, but the figure vanished among the tombstones. After a while, the beam of his flashlight caught the same figure standing at a distance. He rushed toward it again, only to find nothing there. Terrified by the sight, he became convinced it was a witch, as cemeteries are often said to be haunted by supernatural beings. Terrifying encounter. A girl living in Puerto Rico had been feeling a strange presence in her room for the last 3 days. She installed a CCTV camera in her room, and what the camera captured terrified her. At around 4 a.m., the door of her room slowly opened on its own, and a smoky figure entered. The figure lifted the blanket off the girl and threw it to the floor. Then the most horrifying moment happened. She was dragged by her legs out of the room by something invisible. The girl showed the footage to the flat owner, convinced that the place was haunted. Soon after, she moved to a new home, leaving behind the mysteries of that flat forever. Church Witch. People in Ohrid, Macedonia, had been reporting hollering sounds coming from the neighboring church at night. Curious, the church guard decided to review the CCTV footage. What he saw left him shocked. A pale figure dressed in white, with long black hair, standing motionless inside the church, looking like a witch. The figure appeared for only a few seconds, then suddenly vanished, leaving behind nothing but a faint mist. After seeing this, people became convinced that the church was haunted by a witch, and that she was responsible for the eerie screams the neighbors kept hearing at night. Mysterious glowing figure. Somewhere in Milan, Italy, a street camera captured a glowing, smoke-like mass slowly descending from the sky and settling on the ground. It lingered for a moment, then glided to the right and faded away, as if it had never been there at all. No one knows what it was, a ghost falling from the sky, or something far more mysterious. Mysterious figure. This bizarre CCTV footage comes from Ashdown, Arkansas, showing a shadowy, feminine figure walking slowly down the street before heading toward a house. The figure entered the house. The guard, who was watching live on his security camera, rushed into the house to confront the intruder, but found no one there. No doors, no windows, nothing disturbed. So who or what was walking through the home? When he informed his owner about the incident, he thought it might be the soul of his daughter, who had passed away a month ago. Poltergeist activity. Late at night, a man was working alone at a convenience store in Houston, Texas. Everything seemed normal until something strange happened. 2 packs of snacks suddenly flew off the rack and hit the floor. It seemed as if invisible hands had thrown them on purpose. Feared by the sight, the man remembered the warnings his co-workers had given him about this place being haunted at night and didn't stop to investigate and ran straight out of the store, leaving everything behind. Haunted wheelchair.
Meet Cancelina. She's a credit river. She doesn't know that canceling older credit cards when they're paid off can decrease the length of her history. Don't be like Cancelina. Learn how to avoid the wreckers at creditwreckers.com. Credit One Bank for what's ahead.
Dime. Healthy, beautiful skin for every you.
Haunted wheelchair. A security guard was reviewing the CCTV footage because his bike had been stolen from the hospital when he noticed something unbelievable. A wheelchair in front of the emergency ward was moving on its own, as if something invisible was sitting in it and rolling it on purpose. First, the chair moved forward, then stopped for a moment, and then slowly moved backward. The guard was stunned, unable to understand what he had just seen. When he showed the footage to his supervisor, he said it might be the restless soul of a patient who used to sit in that wheelchair and had passed away in the hospital just a few days ago. 3 witches. Past midnight, a driver got into his truck to make a delivery in Balanga, Philippines, when he experienced an eerie moment. As he was reversing, he saw 3 blurry figures moving in front of the truck, as if they were pushing it backward. He stopped to see what the figures actually were, but before he could get out, they vanished. When he later watched the footage with other staff members, they became convinced that the figures were 3 witches from the stories their ancestors used to tell. followed by unknown. One late night in Jaipur, a woman was walking home from the office when she suddenly felt someone behind her. The street was almost empty, yet the feeling of being followed grew stronger with every step, and she began to run, looking back again and again, but saw no one. At home, she told her husband, and they checked the street, CCTV footage, and left, stunned to see a strange figure appear on the road, standing motionless and staring at her. They wondered if it was a thief silently following her in the dark. Road Phantom. In Miami, California, two friends were driving home late at night when something chilling appeared in front of their car. A dark figure suddenly appeared on the road, and before they could react, the car passed straight through it. The driver slammed on the brakes in shock. They stepped out to see who it was, but the road was completely empty. After searching the area and finding nothing, they realized they had witnessed something paranormal and silently drove home. Parking Ghost. On a routine night in Bude Town Centre, UK, a security guard was reviewing the office's CCTV footage when he noticed something unsettling. A strange figure appeared out of nowhere and began walking through the parking lot toward a car. On camera, it looked blurry, as if it were some kind of supernatural being. The figure opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. The guard later uploaded the clip to YouTube, convinced he had captured a ghost. But viewers dismissed it as a hoax, suggesting it was just a trick of the light, and pointing out that no real ghost should cast a shadow. Fresno Ghost. One night, a security guard was casually reviewing CCTV footage of the park in Fresno, California, and was left shocked to see what appeared on the screen. A strange figure moved slowly through the darkness. The figure had just a pair of legs. No head, no torso, no feet. It looked as if a ghost had slipped into a pair of pants and was wandering the park. Feared by the sight, the guard uploaded the clip to Instagram, asking viewers for answers, where one commenter identified it as Fresno Nightcrawler, a ghost said to roam the parks in human pants. Haunted Store. At the end of his shift, late at night, a store manager sat down to review the CCTV footage of a convenience store. What he saw next sent a chill down his spine. Without any person nearby, a shopping trolley suddenly began to roll forward on its own. It moved smoothly, then turned right, heading directly toward the camera, before passing out of view. The manager stared at the screen in disbelief. He had worked in that store for 5 years and had never witnessed anything like this. He was so scared that he decided not to stay any longer and went straight home, convinced that something sinister was moving inside the store. Legless Ghost. A group of friends was waiting for their night class at an Islamic school in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, when something strange passed beside them. A figure wearing a cap like the other students, but on the CCTV footage, its legs were missing. It looked as if the upper body was gliding through the air. At first, no one took it seriously when one of the friends pointed it out, but after a while, they panicked and ran to tell the security guard. After watching the footage, they became convinced it might be the ghost of a student. Haunted Barricade. This eerie footage was captured on a traffic monitoring camera late at night in Montana, US. At first, everything looked normal. Then a traffic barricade lying on the road suddenly moved, even though no one was nearby. There was no wind or nothing that could explain it. So what do you think it was? A paranormal activity? Or just something the camera couldn't show? Wandering Soul. A nurse was on her night shift in a hospital in Bandung, Indonesia, when she heard a strange sound coming from a storage room. She followed the sound and was stunned to see a strange figure peeking from inside. She froze in place as the figure first slipped back into the room, then emerged again and vanished, as if it was not even there. Later, she claimed that it might have been the restless soul of a doctor who had ended his own life in the hospital. Ghost on the Ride. In Florida, U.S., an unusual moment was captured by a CCTV camera inside the fun zone of a shopping mall on January 23rd, 2023. At first, nothing seemed strange. Then a kid's ride suddenly started moving on its own, even though no one was near it. It went around and around, spinning faster than any child could safely ride. Later, when the staff reviewed the footage, they shared it on Instagram out of curiosity, and one commenter suggested that a ghost child might have been playing with the ride. Spooky Cafe. A female worker was cleaning the floor inside a cafe in Merida, Mexico, when a strange moment was caught on the CCTV camera. As she left the area, the wet floor caution sign suddenly moved on its own. After a while, she returned to clean the washroom, but was shocked to see the caution sign dropping to the floor. Then the manager came to inspect how well the cleaning had been done, and the threaded mop leaning against the wall suddenly fell to the ground. Sensing that something was not right, the manager quickly left the area because he had been hearing creepy reports from the staff for some time, but he never believed them until this happened. Vanishing figure. Just a year ago in Youngstown, Ohio, a man was walking to his car at around 5 a.m. to leave for work. A strange figure suddenly appeared beside his car, moving in a hunched posture, and vanished in an instant without leaving a trace. The moment was so quick that the man never noticed anything at the time, as if whatever it was wanted to be seen only by the camera. People online were divided when they saw the footage. Some said it was a hoax. Others were sure it was a ghost. What do you think it was? Mysterious cat. A family in Bristol, England, had been hearing strange sounds at night in their home for 3 days, so they installed CCTV cameras, and what the footage revealed left them horrified. A shadowy creature with glowing eyes was seen walking through the TV lounge late at night, leaving behind a smoky trail. The figure looked similar to their pet cat, which had passed away just a month ago. Terrified by the footage, the family began to wonder if it was their cat's restless spirit still wandering the house. Mysterious creature. A man in Medford, Oregon, kept hearing strange sounds outside his home late at night, so he decided to install a CCTV camera near his front door. What he later saw in the footage was terrifying. A strange, pale figure was peeking from behind the corner of a wall. It had a flat nose, large, bulging eyes, and a bald, round head, just like the aliens people describe in stories. When the man stepped outside to check, the figure slipped back behind the wall and disappeared. The next morning, after reviewing the footage, he became convinced that he had captured an alien on camera, although no official report was ever released. Madrasa Jinn. On the night of April 19th, 2022, 3 friends were sleeping inside a madrasa in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, when the CCTV camera captured a terrifying moment. In the middle of the night, one of them was suddenly dragged across the carpet by something that wasn't visible on camera. It looked as if he was lifted by the waist, floating face down in the air, before collapsing to the ground a moment later. When he told his teacher about the incident, the teacher believed it might have been done by a jinn, since religious places are often said to be haunted by them. Late night danger. A woman was home alone one night in Nome, Alaska, when she heard a banging sound at the main door. With trembling hands, she checked the security camera and saw a man covered in mud, slamming his shoulder against the door as if trying to break in. His eyes were glowing, and his movements looked uncontrolled, almost like a zombie. After several attempts, he suddenly lost his strength and collapsed onto the porch fence. The woman immediately called 911. When police arrived, they found the man lying in a ditch near the house and took him into custody, but never explained who he was or what made him behave like this.
In Maine, winter is a presence. Fierce, bracing, and alive.
Office spirit. In Midnapore, India, a CCTV camera captured a strange moment in a corporate office back in 2007. A shadowy figure was moving in front of the elevator at a very high speed. It seemed to be made of smoke. No face, no hands, no clear features. Just the shape of an invisible person drifting through the area. When the staff watched the footage, they were convinced it was the spirit of a woman who had passed away there only 3 weeks ago. Strange parking entity. A car was stolen from the parking lot of a building in Coventry, England. While checking the CCTV footage, police expected to see the thief, but instead found something far more disturbing. At first, everything looked normal, but then the lights began to flicker, and a strange, shadowy figure appeared on the left side of the screen. Dressed in white, with long black hair covering its face, it stood motionless for a moment before vanishing instantly, and the guard suggested that it might be the soul of the woman who slipped from the stairs and passed away 2 months ago. Hollow-eyed figure. A woman living alone in Algoma, Wisconsin, woke to a loud banging at her window. The power had gone out after heavy rain, and the house was in complete darkness. Shaking with fear, she turned on her camera and began to record. When she pointed the camera toward the window, what she saw made her skin crawl. A pale figure was standing outside, staring directly into the camera. Its eyes were hollow. Then, without a sound, the figure slipped out of view and vanished. Terrified, the woman ran to her bedroom, locked the door, and stayed there until morning. Spooky bed. A family rented a house in Guerra, Texas for a very low price. Soon after moving in, they began to experience strange things, so they installed security cameras around the house. One night, the camera in the bedroom captured the man was lying on his bed, using his phone, when the bed suddenly began to slide across the floor on its own. There was no one near it that could have caused it to move. Terrified, the man jumped up and ran out of the room. After watching the footage, the family became certain they were not alone in the house. They kept the video as proof to show the owner and demanded their money back. Miracle. A CCTV camera in Tokyo, Japan, recorded a man crossing a road who suddenly vanished from the middle of the street and reappeared safely on the other side, narrowly escaping an oncoming car, making it seem like an angel had saved him. A similar video from Osaka, Japan in 2017 shows a woman crossing at midnight as a speeding car approaches. A mysterious figure appears from nowhere, grabs her, and instantly transports her to the far side of the road. The driver and woman are visibly shocked. Was this a real miracle caught on camera, or just a clever hoax? You decide. Mysterious bike. This footage was shared online on the 16th of January, 2018, and quickly gained attention because it showed something impossible. Around 11:55 a.m., a strange moment was caught on a street camera in Talpukkur, Kolkata. A bike was moving on its own down the road. The handle and speed stayed perfectly steady, as if someone invisible was riding it. Some viewers suggested the bike might have been on cruise control, but even then, a driver should still be visible. Others believed it was being driven by a ghost that the camera couldn't capture. So what do you think? Street figure. A man's car had been stolen from outside his house in Haldia, Bengal. While reviewing the CCTV footage, he was shocked to see a strange figure crouched low to the ground, moving slowly beside his car. He couldn't tell whether it was a human or some other mysterious creature. When he showed the footage to the authorities, they identified the figure as a member of a notorious thief group that disguises itself as beggars or disabled people to steal cars, and he could be responsible for his car being stolen. Now it's time for today's most nightmarish subscribers pick of the day. On the night of November 3rd, 2018, two friends were asleep inside their hostel room in Pune, India, when a strange incident was caught on CCTV. Suddenly, the door of the room opened on its own. Then something even more unsettling happened, which you would not expect. Both legs of the man sleeping on the right side began to rise into the air, as if lifted by an unseen presence, and he was pulled off his bed. He woke up in shock and looked around, trying